Max writes, "Hey, John, congrats on the new studio. Did you hear that the Simpsons are removing Apu due to racist complaints? Every character is based on a stereotype. We were moving in the right direction with diversity in movies and TV, but this is a step backwards in my opinion. What do you think? Thanks and have a great day." All right, thanks a lot for the email, Max. And for those of you who haven't heard about this, one of the producers for The Simpsons, Adi Shankar, and yes, it's that Adi Shankar, from that infamous episode I did of Heroes with me and Schnepp. Anyway, apparently there's been some talk. Now, we've known in the last couple of years, there has been some controversy surrounding the Apu character on The Simpsons. I love Apu. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, there's a lot of characters I love on The Simpsons. Apu is definitely one of those characters that I love. But in the last couple of years, there's been a little bit of controversy because of the portrayal of a minority in the show. I get it. So Adi Shankar is now coming out and saying that he is hearing that Fox is basically looking at just removing the character altogether from The Simpsons. Now, Adi Shankar, he kind of mentioned that, you know, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but this is the basic gist of what Adi was saying. He goes, you know, we've got this, I think he referred to him as Southern Asian character that is not portrayed very realistically. You know, they use stereotypes with him, and he's not portrayed very realistically. And I think that's a problem. He should be portrayed in a little bit better of a light and a little bit more realistically. And I get it. I do. I think we all need to be sensitive to people because, look, I am not of that ethnic background. I am a pasty white Italian Caucasian dude. That's what I am. So I'm not going to pretend like I can relate and totally understand what other people's feelings on this issue might be. So let me acknowledge that right up front, okay? Now, understanding that, here's my thought process on it, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, I could have my mind changed, but here's where my thought process is right now. I've always been comfortable with comedians, TV shows, movies, whatever, of making fun of people if at the heart of it, they really make fun of everybody. You know, I think that's one of the reasons why South Park has gotten away with so much for so many years, because South Park makes fun of everybody. You know, they'll go after, you know, right-wing stuff, and then in the next scene, they're going after, they're making fun of people on the opposite side with PC principle, you know? They'll make fun of everybody. And I've always been okay with that because that, to me, says it's done a lot in the spirit of fun, right? It's fine if you go after me, if you're also going after everybody and we're all in the same boat. I've always been kind of fine with that. That's why, like, even comedians like Daniel Tosh, I've always been great with a comedian like Daniel Tosh because he goes after everybody, right? Is the suggestion that the Apu character in The Simpsons is handled with a number of stereotypes and is not portrayed very realistically? Is that a fair thing to say, and is that accurate to say? Yeah, it is. Apu is portrayed with a number of stereotypes, and he isn't portrayed all that realistically. Those are true things, absolutely. But here's the thing to me. Nobody in The Simpsons is portrayed very, very realistically, and every character in The Simpsons is portrayed based on a number of stereotypes, usually very negative stereotypes. Homer Simpson himself, one of the great characters on television, Homer Simpson himself is portrayed as the living embodiment of almost every negative stereotype of a dumb, overweight, middle-aged white dude. And it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Mr. Burns is portrayed with a whole ton of negative stereotypes, right? Moe, the bar owner, is portrayed with a bunch of negative stereotypes. I mean, you go down, every character, whether it's the Bumblebee Man, or whether it's Marge's sisters, or whether it's Ned Flanders, all these characters are portrayed to some degree with less than flattering stereotypes, and none of them in anything that feels like it's realistic. Therefore, for me, while I agree that Apu is portrayed with sometimes not so flattering stereotypes and not portrayed very realistically, I go, yeah, but that's par for the course with every character in The Simpsons. They're all portrayed that way, every single one of them. So to complain that, hey, Apu isn't portrayed very realistically, yeah, but neither is Homer, neither is Mr. Burns, neither is Bumblebee Man, neither is any of them. None of them are portrayed. Neither is Ned Flanders, none of them are. So to me, if you're going to look at pulling Apu out of the show, who I think is one of the best characters. And by the way, Apu is one of the characters who is portrayed in such a way that he's usually the most common sense guy in it. He's usually like the most common sense dude portrayed in the show, but that's just my interpretation of it. I could be wrong. But yeah, to me, if you're going to pull Apu out, you might as well pull Mr. Burns. Because if the charge is you're using some not so flattering stereotypes and you're not portraying it very realistically, well, then that means you got to pull Mr. Burns. That means you got to pull Marge. That means you got to pull Ned Flanders. That means you got to pull Moe. That means you got to pull Carl. That means you got to pull the comic book shop guy. That means you got to pull Principal Skinner. That means you got to pull them all. So do I agree that Apu is portrayed a certain way? Yeah, that's true. He is. But so is every character in the show. And it seems to be equal opportunity making fun of. And to me, it's just always been a matter of if it's equal opportunity making fun of, that means we're all kind of on the same level. So I'll be honest, again, I'm not willing to die for that opinion. That's just kind of how I feel about it right now. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I could be very wrong about that, and maybe my mind could even be changed on it. But right now, if they are indeed pulling the Apu character on that basis, I think it's unfortunate because on that basis you could pull them all. And that's just kind of the way I see it.